the world of miscalled text back came, suddenly voice AI appeared. Holy shitballs. This is it. This is the future. We're going full blast on this one. I do think like I have discovered fire or something. Why is nobody else doing this?
How many clients are you getting a week from ads right now?
I get about 100 a month.
Do you have churn?
No, except for one restaurant that caught on fire.
You said in the last 3 weeks, you've closed a florist, a hotel, an estate agent, and a kids play park, all with voice AI.
Basically, the setup is everybody wants to buy stuff, but nobody wants someone to sell it to them.
Hello, and welcome to the latest segment on this channel called What's Working, where we talk about what's working right now as of this podcast being published. I saw today's guest answering some questions in the GoHighLevel Facebook group, and the way he was responding made me feel like I need to reach out to him, and he did not disappoint. Probably one of the most golden nugget filled interviews I have ever done, and I've done probably close to 100 in my entrepreneurial career, okay? So strap in because Danny is about to blow your socks off. Let's get into it. How's it going, everybody? And welcome to this interview with Danny Harris, who joins us all the way from the UK. He commented in the Facebook group in response to this post, and he said that in the last 3 weeks, he's closed multiple different businesses that he was a patron of. So he was buying from them, and then he ended up selling them voice AI. And this is going to be an amazing interview where we learn how to turn everyday conversations into profit in your high level business without sounding salesy and just going about your normal day. Danny, thanks so much for coming on.
No problem, anytime. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from, your family, your career? How did you get to this point?
Yeah, I am from just outside of London in the UK. If you want to know where I am on a map, I'm as close as you can get to France without getting wet. I can literally see France out of my window. I'd show you, but it's pouring with rain, so you can't actually see it right now. I've been in the marketing world since about 2008, which was when I ran my first Facebook ad. So that was my first soiree into digital marketing.
Those are the golden age.
World. Yeah, that was when it was, you had to wind it up to get it to work and stuff. It was really and that was for a different business that I was running. I used to run a golf events business, and discovered after a while that I was much better at the marketing of businesses than I was of actually running sort of the individual businesses. So since then, I've started and flipped 3 Facebook ads agencies, and in the last, and I'd kind of stopped working for a little while. And in the last little while, I discovered GoHighLevel probably about 2 years ago, played around with it for a little bit with some success. Some of it was good, some of it was bad. I was doing some stuff of my own, some information products and so on. And then the world of miscalled text back came, and I was like, that's good. I really like that because that's literally salvaging money for a business that's already coming in, and they're just letting it go out the window sort of accidentally without even realizing. And just as I started to learn that, suddenly voice AI appeared. And for me, that was like, holy shitballs. This is it. This is the future. Drop everything, start the car. We're going full blast on this one. And so that's how we've got to here where we are now.
Very cool. And we'll get a little bit more into why voice AI is so valuable. I'm sure you've seen that in the deals that you've done. But in this comment you put in the Facebook group, you said in the last 3 weeks, you've closed a florist, a hotel, an estate agent, and a kids play park, all with voice AI. What exactly did you sell them and how much did you charge?
Each of those guys, I have a standard price of £399 a month for the AI agents, and I have a setup fee of at least £450.
Okay.
There's about, if it makes sense, £400 is about $500.
Yeah.
With
about a 25% markup right now.
But yeah, and it's basically the setup that I do, which in all honesty is, I mean, it's a 10-minute job if you use ChatGPT to set it up as well, which once you've got one business, you kind of template a hotel, and then it's just editing bits and pieces and you're done.
Yeah.
So the setup fee is kind of just extra sauce on top of the nice stuff.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and from there I don't really do a great deal because I have somebody that runs the support, which there's very little of because we
Mhm.
do all the work for them. And that's it.
Amazing. I love it. I love the price points and I love the simplicity of the delivery, which, as a person that's run multiple agencies, you know how important simplicity of delivery is. Can you tell us how the conversation usually goes with these types of businesses, especially when it's just in an everyday context where you're there buying something and then you end up turning them into a customer?
Okay, I think probably the best example on that is one of the people I closed was a florist.
Hmm.
And I had somebody that I needed to send some flowers to, and this is genuinely true. And something that I neglected to mention about my past, a lot of my background is marketing psychology.
Mm.
So I kind of know how to push the
Yeah.
right buttons on people, shall we say.
Hmm.
And this person whose flowers I wanted to buy lives a little bit away from me. And all I did was went to Google, or I went to Google and I typed in florist in this particular town's area, a place called Kings Hill. And there were, I think it was 4 or 5 florists listed in Kings Hill. And one of the reasons I like voice AI so much is I'm a bit older than probably a lot of the people that are doing high level and so on. And I'm a caller. I phone people. I don't
Mm.
order online. I'm just my age
Yeah.
group. That's how we do things. And I'd called all of these first 4 or 5 florists that appeared on Google. Now I know nothing about flowers. So even if I look at a website, it's just flowers on a website. So I
Yeah.
haven't got a real preference. I'm literally going down the in order
Yeah.
and I'm a little bit busy. So I don't want to call someone back. I'm just going to call until somebody answers the phone.
Yeah.
4 or 5, I can't remember, it's 4 or 5 that didn't answer. So then I had to go to a town slightly further away on the Google map. And part of me, I mean, it's only a few miles, and part of me was thinking, will that guy actually go to the other town? But he
Mm.
probably will because it's a reasonable price product.
Yeah.
Um, and so I phoned that guy and he answered the phone and he got the sale. So he was like, yeah, great. And all I said at the time, I wasn't even thinking about it. I just said, I want to send some flowers. It's a little bit away. So I gave him the address, paid the money. And he said, okay, they'll be delivered by 2 o'clock or something. Then I got a call from him a couple of hours later and he said something like, we couldn't deliver them where you wanted to because of, I can't remember what the reason was, but we've put them in a doorway at the side of the property. Yeah, kind of standard stuff
Sure.
for a delivery person. And I said, okay, yeah, that's great, fantastic. And he said, anything else I can help you with? And suddenly it just went in my head, actually, do you know why I called you even though you're further away from that property? And he said, well, no, I'm not sure. And so we had this little chat. And I said, the reason was nobody else answered their phone. And I said, do you ever struggle to answer your phone? And he said, well, we do, but we try to call people back. And I said, okay, well, that's great. But what happens when you call them back? Are they always keen to talk to you? Or have they often then already gone on to the
Mm.
next person? Like if you'd have called me back 15 minutes later, you've lost it because I've already booked and paid with someone else. And he said, yes,
Sure.
that happens all the time. So I said, well, so if you had something that answered the phone for you and never missed, that would probably benefit a company like yours. And he said, well, yeah, yeah, definitely. And that's the conversation. And then what one of the key things I do with people, and a lot of this goes back to when I was younger, I used to work in restaurants. And I used to work for TGI Fridays, the restaurant company who I'm sure most
Nice.
people have heard of. And in TGI Fridays, there was this big thing about you had to answer the phone within 3 rings. And it was a massive thing. And every time we had a meeting, it was answer the phone in 3 rings, answer the phone in 3 rings. And there was one manager, a chap called Giles Fry, and he took it a step further. And what was good about what Giles did is he explained to you why we needed to answer the phone in 3 rings. And it went like this. And this is, I adapt this when I talk to people. And he says, if we miss a phone call, the chances are that person wants to come to the restaurant, book a table, or somehow visit the restaurant. And the average table that we have is for four people, and the average spend per head is £20. So if we don't answer the phone, we're in effect losing £80, right?
Mm.
Fair enough. And we were in a very, very busy TGI Fridays. We were the busiest TGI Fridays in the world at the time. And so Giles used to say, so if we miss 10 phone calls a day, which is nothing in that place, I mean, we definitely miss 10 phone calls a day,
Yeah.
that's £800 a day, £5,600 a week, or just under 300 grand a year
Wow.
if you only miss 10 phone calls a day in that restaurant.
Yeah.
So when I was talking to the flower guy, I said, and this is what I say to everyone, how many phone calls do you think you miss? And he said, I don't know, maybe 10 a day. Again, most people tend to say 10. And I said, okay, so what's the average value
Match
of,
made in heaven, you and him.
yeah, what's the value of some flowers? And he said, well, the average flowers are £60. But then he literally went into, and this is what happened. He said, but then it could be somebody calling for the wedding flowers. And wedding
Mm.
flowers can be £2,000. Or it could be funeral flowers and they're £500 and whatever. And he was now talking himself into it and getting into his head that he's missing all this money every time he misses a call.
Hmm.
So then I said, well, if we just talk about the basic bunches of flowers and you're missing 10 of those a day at £60 a time, you're missing £600 a day, which is seven sixes, what's that, 42. So you're missing £4,200 a week, which is 16 and a half grand a month. If I can fix that for £400, would you be keen? Now, nobody at that point can say no.
Yeah.
And then I say something along the lines of, look, and in the case of this, I said, look, I've never set one up before for a flower shop, but this is what I'm going to do. I'll use your website and I'll make you a demo agent with your website. It'll answer your stuff, your prices, your whatever it happens to be. Um, and so he said, yeah, that sounds great. So we booked a call, the next day, a couple of days' time or something, give me a bit of time. And literally all I do is I put their website into a knowledge base. I train the basics of the agent from a template of something else. I think in that time, I used a restaurant template, put it into ChatGPT and said, turn this into a flower shop. Done.
Yeah.
And then we had this call, which was a Zoom call, and I literally said, do you remember that? And yeah, do you remember how much money you're missing? Yeah, we're losing. And I've been talking to my wife, and it turns out we're losing all this money. Not only that, we also own the dry cleaning store next door,
Nice.
and he answers the phone for both shops badly, um, and does the deliveries for the flower shop and drops off the dry cleaning and whatever. So they're working very hard.
Yeah.
And he said, and at the dry cleaning store, we're missing, 20 phone calls a day or a week. And some of that's commercial contracts, so it's big money and so on. And so I said, well, right, let me show you how this agent works. So I literally phone it in front of him and I say, hi, it's my girlfriend's birthday. I don't know anything about flowers. What should I do? And the agent said, oh, great. Congratulations on your girlfriend's birthday. We think flowers for birthday should be, I don't know, I can't remember what he said. I don't know anything about
Yeah.
flowers, but, roses and lilies and whatever it happens to be.
Sure.
And I said, so what sort of price would you be looking at spending on flowers? £60 is a good start. You can go higher if you want, and so on. Is there a delivery charge? Yeah, it's £5, and if you want it the next day, it's an extra 10. Whatever the stuff was. And then I say, well, look, this is what it does after an hour of training. Imagine what it would be like when we train it properly. And that will mean you will never miss another phone call. Not only that, some of the phone calls you are taking at the moment, you would probably much rather be doing something else,
Yeah.
because most people that phone most businesses are asking relatively the same dozen or so questions. And you almost think I could just put this on, a recorded message and answer the questions for people.
Yeah.
And then you say, well, so for £400 a month, do you fancy that and getting your £6,000 a month back?
Yeah.
Yeah, right then. That's it. That is the
Yeah.
whole pitch.
Love it.
And I did the same thing with the children's soft play place they call it. You know where it's they
Yeah,
can
yeah,
run into the wall and it doesn't hurt them and all of that sort of stuff.
yeah.
And I was out walking my dog, and this is one of the keys to this whole thing is if you come across like a salesperson,
Mm-hmm.
they immediately they withdraw.
Yeah.
So when you walk into a place for the first time, if you go in and say, "Hi, my name's Bob and I'm from X company," immediately the doors come down, right? The shutters go up,
Yeah,
depending
yeah.
which you can say. And I always liken that to, if you ever go to somewhere, especially DIY stores do this, in the reception area or the foyer area, there tends to be someone selling windows or doors or something.
Mm-hmm.
What we do is we all do everything we can to not make eye contact with that person because they're going to try and sell you
So
something.
true. Put the headphones in, walk past.
Exact anything, just like
Yeah.
walk out like this, so
Yeah.
you don't have to look at the person. And the reason is there's a great saying that is everybody wants to buy stuff, but nobody wants someone to sell it to them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is what this overcomes. And what I've started to do now is I go into places with my dog, right? And in the children's play, my dog's very friendly, stupid
Yeah.
dog. It's not a pit bull or anything. And so when I went in there, I said, I have grandchildren, and that's true. So I said, oh, look, I'm looking for somewhere for my grandchildren to come and do this. Have you got any information you can give me? And whilst I was in there, the phone was ringing, and she was busy talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, do you often miss phone calls like that? It's oh yeah, that phone, it never stops ringing. It's such a pain. So well, it's a pain to you, but to the business owner, that's all the money.
Yeah.
And the same kind of conversation then happened, which is just how many times a day do you think you missed the phone? And most people don't know. Some people do know, which is even better because they'll give you an exact number. And if
Yeah.
you can get them to give you that number, and that number is higher than the number that you are charging, then you're all gold.
Yeah. All the
And that,
objections going.
yeah, and that doesn't even include all of the knock-on sales, because in the case of a flower shop, you might buy flower. Next time I buy flowers, I will go to that flower shop.
Yeah.
Not because they're an amazing flower shop, but my flowers arrived,
Yeah.
and somebody sent me a message say thanks for the flowers.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. So
They did
now
their
I think
job.
they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then since then, I run quite a lot of online ads for my agents that work perfectly well. But I always still go into places almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've just done a lot of work trying to, I've sold a lot of AI agents into restaurants because I used
Mm.
to work in the restaurant industry years ago. I know a lot of people in the restaurant industry. So again, it's easy to make contacts to people. Um, And I've just built an agent now that can completely handle all of the to-go orders.
Wow.
It's like everything. And even in the middle of it, you could say, you see that pizza, I only want sort of mozzarella cheese on one half, but I want cheddar cheese on the other half. And I
Yeah.
want mushrooms on the half with cut cheddar cheese, but not on the half with whatever. Actually, no, I changed my mind. I want fried chicken, not a pizza.
Yeah.
Um, Everything, the whole shebang. Meal
Wow.
deals. The meal deals, four pizzas for the price of one. What do you want in pizza one? Okay. Actually, what do you want for a drink to go with that? You get three sides. What sides do you want? All
Mm-hmm.
of that stuff's done. And when I talk to people in sort of, especially places that are kind of like a takeaway, not a restaurant, but just a standalone
Sure.
takeaway to go place, whatever you call them over there. Um, and it's like someone's just invented fire in front of their eyes. It's like this is the future.
Yeah.
And again, when you say to someone, "Would you like me to do a demo with your website, your stuff, your address, all of
Yeah.
this stuff?" You're done,
Yeah.
and it's just crazy.
And how do you get it to fire to whatever their delivery software is or ordering
You,
software?
all you have to do is make sure the delivery software has an open API.
Mm.
Or it's not. It's not even the only thing we worry about is because most of the companies in the UK, I'm sure it's the same in the States, we have people like Uber Eats and Deliveroo and those
Yeah.
guys, and they take a commission for the orders.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you don't want to go through them. You want
Yeah.
to take your own orders in an ideal world. Same with Booking.com and those
Yeah.
kind of people. Um, so we just need to link it to the in-house software
Mm.
that sends the order into the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's just done by an API. And if you know much about the setting up of the AI agents, at the bottom you've got custom actions,
Hmm.
and there's a custom action in there which is linked to an API. You just give it the endpoint and a couple of bits and pieces. It takes about 2 minutes, and
Wow. Amazing.
it's just crazy. And you can ask it things like how how long will it take my order to arrive? It will go in, check how many orders are currently being processed, then work out if it's quiet, medium, or very busy, and then give a time of 15 minutes, half an hour, an hour.
Wow.
Unbelievably. And
Incredible.
I
Yeah.
don't take any credit for this.
Yeah.
I'm just a fella that's trying to work out how to make it work.
Yeah. So cool. Um, what limitations have you encountered with the high level AI agent, and are you employing any third party tools?
No, I only use 100% the high level agent. ChatGPT is the only thing, but that
Yeah.
helps me
Sure.
make the stuff happen. Because I think one of the things that happens when there's so many options, and there's things at the moment. Everyone keeps saying to me NA10, and at the moment, the whole thing you've probably heard the term shiny new object syndrome,
Hmm.
where you just keep seeing this new thing, a new thing, a new thing. What is what I use is probably, I don't know, 6 months old now or something, like however long ago that stuff came out. But to everybody else, this is you know, like nothing they've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's literally like
So true. Yeah.
you've landed a space rocket on their front lawn or something. It's just madness. And
Yeah.
if I think if you, unless you've got someone that's just going to be updating stuff for you, it's almost impossible to keep up.
Mm.
So kind of why bother?
Yeah.
And I kind of think the same with phones. I haven't had a new phone. I was just my phone's on its way out, and I realised I haven't had a new phone for 5 years.
Uh-huh.
But previously, I was updating my phone every year, but not really seeing the benefit.
Hmm.
Whereas if I wait a while before I upgrade my phone, all of a
Mm.
sudden, oh my God, look at all of this I can show people that we're doing now.
Yeah.
And most, like if you look at websites, most businesses have had the same website for yeah, 10 years or however long it is,
Yeah.
even though websites are vastly superior now than they were when
Hmm.
theirs was last built.
Yeah. So true. So if you're not working with a business like a restaurant where you can fire to their delivery software or whatever else, is it mainly just an FAQ bot that says, okay, we'll get that taken care of, and then you fire off a like an order summary or a conversation summary to the client? For
Yeah,
example, the flower shop.
the flower shop, I think most businesses have an order system.
Mm,
Like there's software for just about every industry now.
yeah.
And it works basically the same. So the flower shop, it goes from the API into the flower shop software. And so that person knows the next
Nice.
day we need to deliver whatever it happens to be. Um, so mostly a restaurant and a flower shop isn't actually that far apart in setup. It's
Hmm.
just really the products that are different. Whereas if you use somebody, say somebody's in like a home services industry or something like that,
Yeah.
I've got a few clients who fit what in the UK we call them garden rooms. If someone has a home office built in the yard or whatever it happens to be. And those guys, what's good with them is they might only miss 10 phone calls a month,
Yeah.
but one of those phone calls might be 100 grand to them.
Yeah.
So if you can salvage one phone call a year,
Yeah.
then you've more than paid for yourself, like
Oh yeah.
more than paid for yourself. Um, and with those guys, the setup will tend to be a few qualification questions, as in what kind of garden room do you want? do we do that type of garden? Because there's a few various options and so on.
Hmm.
Um, when do you want it done, roughly? What kind of budget have you got? Whatever other questions they want to have. And then you can filter out the people that aren't right for you, because some people, the average garden room in the UK is it's about 40 grand, give or take. Some people are phoning up and saying, yeah, I've got £2,000.
Yeah.
Well, it's not going to happen, is it? So,
Yeah.
so, and one of the good things with it, with those guys, is it filters you out from having to have a conversation.
Mm.
Firstly, that you don't want, because you don't want to have to say to somebody, yeah, 2 grand's not just, you're
Yeah.
not even in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
Um, and it just saves you time. So
Mm.
then when you do get the booked appointments into your calendar, it will be, Mr. Smith, he's looking for a home office, he wants air conditioning, he wants this, he wants that, he's got a budget of 50 grand. Um, I'll book you an appointment for Monday at 2 o'clock or whatever it
Love it.
happens to be.
Yeah.
And then they just, it just simplifies that person's life. You
Yeah.
know, so there's kind of there's almost two options. I think there's the option of people who have volumes of calls and low priced items, so things like restaurants, play parks. I've got a client they do an indoor climbing wall.
Hmm.
I've got a zoo is one of my clients, an aqua
Nice.
park, all sorts of people like that. But they have massive volumes of
Yeah.
they need loads of customers every day,
Hmm.
and that's one style of setup. The other style of setup is for those that have big ticket items, so the construction companies, people like that, uh, HVAC people or car dealerships or people like that, where they only need 3 clients a week and they're going great.
Yeah.
The other thing I try to sort of say to people is the easiest way to get customers, if you don't want to walk into a place, which initially can be a little bit daunting, but if you do go in with your dog, with one of your kids, so you don't look like you're there to sell,
Yeah.
don't wear a suit, wear like shorts and
Yeah.
a t-shirt or whatever it happens to be.
Hmm.
And I did it this morning to a kitchen fitting company just about a mile away from my house, and I was out with my dog, and I had to make a bit of a detour, but I went round there, and as I walked past, there was a guy outside, sort of polishing a sign or doing something. So, oh, do you work in there? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I wonder if you could ask me a question. I don't think this new business idea that I've got would work for a company like yours. Can you tell me if, and when you say, I don't think it'll work,
Yeah.
weirdly, he goes out of his way now to start to try and prove that it doesn't work.
Yeah. Genius.
But then he's going, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. And then you say at the end of it, do you know anyone else that I could sort of maybe pitch this to? Because, you've been good enough to answer the questions. He's like, well, we'll buy it. Don't go pitching it to somebody else. And you're
Yeah.
like, really? I hadn't
Yeah.
thought of that at all. And that's the way in. But if
Yeah. I love it.
you literally can, I think the things that when people, especially if you've got guys watching this that are first starting,
Hmm.
a lot of the time it's money that's the option, the issue. Like they haven't got the money for the Facebook ads or the Google ads or whatever.
Yeah.
The easiest thing to do is in your town, your city, wherever you happen to be, you use probably a hairdresser, a dentist. One of my clients is a guy that cleans my carpets. He's got one of those carpet cleaning businesses.
Mm.
You might use a vet. You might use a sunbed shop if you're that way inclined. There's gyms, there's car dealerships, there's everything. Every local business you can think of.
Yeah.
Just write down, right, who do I use in this town? Then if you contact those guys, and even if it's a local restaurant, go into the restaurant and say, I come in here all the time with my partner and my family or whatever. Um, and when we're in here, we sometimes when we call, it's difficult to book a table because the phone doesn't get answered. And
Yeah.
okay, yeah, it's a nightmare that, we can't. There you go again.
Yeah.
So because they can't be rude to you
Yeah.
because you're a customer.
There it
And one
is.
of the things with cold calling, this is going into a little bit into the psychology of it all. the biggest reason people don't like cold calling goes back to our instinctive brain, what they call a chimp brain. And back when we were sort of apes before we became humans, really. And back then, or even when we were cavemen, when you were in your group, your tribe, or whatever it happened to be, you had to fit in with everyone.
Mm.
Otherwise, you got kicked out of your tribe, and then you were on your own and you were going to die. So, staying in the group was vitally
Yeah.
important. And this is a part of social proof, why social proof works so well. So, if when you go into a cold calling situation, people are worried the person's going to be unpleasant to them, which is going to make them feel like they don't fit into what the group are doing, which
Mm.
is why instinctively it's like, oh God, it's like being shot in the heart or something
Yeah.
when it goes wrong on a cold call. But if you just understand that, when you go into places where they know you, they can't do that to you
Mm.
because they've then lost your business forever.
Yeah.
You know? Or the other alternative is once you've run out of all of your people, you talk to your mum and your dad. Who do they use? Your brother, your sister, your uncle, your aunt, your cat, your dog, your friends. Even if you say, go into someone and said, oh, my friend Dave comes in here and he always tells me it's fantastic. And he tells me what I've got won't work in here, but he said you might be able to answer some questions about it for me. And
I
it's
love it.
just that whole kind of
It's
you're
these
taking
slight tweaks in psychology, like just like two words could set somebody off or take their guard down completely.
exactly. And the worst thing you can possibly say is, hi, my name's whoever, I'm from this company.
Mm.
Immediately, that's a sales pitch.
Yeah.
And if you go in with, I wonder if you can ask me some questions. I don't think this would work for a business like yours, but I'm
Yeah.
doing some market research. Can you just tell me if I'm right in thinking it won't work?
Yeah.
And they'll go, yeah, yeah, I'll tell you everything that's wrong about you.
Yeah.
But then as you go through it, so you say, well, so do you think you missed the odd call? Yeah, yeah, occasionally. How much is the call worth? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
£500 a day. God, that's a lot of money, isn't it? I never thought it'd be that much. Okay, so if you are losing £500 a day, that's,
Yeah.
and it just goes from there. And
Love
that
it.
number, if you can get them to tell you the number that they're losing by not answering the phone, you are home and hosed.
Yeah.
It is just done. Because if
Very
your
cool.
price is anything less than that, you can't lose.
Yeah. So to follow up with some kind of rapid fire real questions, because my biggest pet peeve is an interview like this, but you never talk about the pitfalls or the mishaps or anything like that. First one is, what are some common objections you get? Even with this lead up, do you get people saying, "Oh, I could never have AI answer the phone," or some other type of objection like that? And how do you handle it?
I think probably the most common one, and this is one you because it's such an easy comeback, you kind of have to do it in a bit of a jokey style.
Hmm.
And loads of people will say, no, we're a really family run business and we pride ourselves on being personal, so we don't like things like that. And you say, well, do you think it's more personal to not answer the phone at all? And then,
Mic
well,
drop.
yeah, it's like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
And then some of them will go, yeah, but we like to be, but oh, I don't know. And and I'm not, and you have to say to people, it is difficult to get your head around it,
Yeah.
but it is taking over the world very,
Wow.
very quickly.
Yeah.
And I had that exact same conversation with a vet, who's not my usual vet, and I went in there because I happened to be out riding my bike. So I
Hmm.
went in, all of my bike stuff on, my helmet, everything,
Nice.
sweating buckets because it was the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
Oh, can you answer me some questions? And she's like, yeah, he's definitely not on a sales pitch because look at the
Yeah.
state of him.
You got your special bike shoes on.
Exactly, exactly. And I've got mud all up my back because we've been going through a river and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And I said to her, does this happen? Because vets are a great option, by the way, because they're very expensive vets. And in
Yeah.
the case of my dog's 4.5. And when I first got her, again, I phoned the number of the nearest vet, which I know is it's literally 100 yards over there,
Yeah.
no more than 100 yards. And they didn't answer the phone because they were so close. I gave them a second chance and a third chance, but
Yeah.
I had a puppy that was just delivered, and I needed vaccines and all of this stuff. So I was like, right, I'm going to have to phone somebody else. And I'm now at a vet's 2 miles away,
Yeah.
and I've been with them for 4.5 years now.
There you go.
And I've probably in 4.5 years given them, I don't know, maybe £3,000, something like that. Just and my dog's a very healthy dog. She's never had anything wrong with her.
Yeah.
Just flea tablets and all of that kind of stuff that you have to pay for. Um, so that phone call literally cost them £3,000. And if my dog lives for another 10 years or something, which is probably our life expectancy,
Hmm.
that's cost them best part of 10 grand,
Yeah.
just from missing that call.
Yeah.
But that woman particularly, after I'd said that to her, and she's, oh no, it's just not right for our image or something. I was
Hmm.
like, okay, and I always just go, oh, okay, yeah, no worries, no worries. It's not, I don't do, let me convince you,
Yeah.
because the less you try and convince them, the more they're doing the numbers in their own head.
Yeah.
And she came back to me about a week later and said, we still want to be really family orientated. And I'm not taking that bit. If someone answers the phone, great. It's
Yeah.
someone answering the phone is going to be better than an agent answering the phone, just
Yeah.
because it's just the nature of things. Um, but she said, well, what if we tried it for a while and if we didn't like it, we didn't want to keep it, so we'll get rid of it. You only have to pay for a month. There's no
Yeah.
contract, nothing.
Yeah.
You just pay me a month. If you don't like it, we'll get rid of it. And that's it. And honestly,
There you
that
go.
I think that would be the number one objection. But people are wary, but everything they say, it's like, oh my God, what can I think of to say no? Because I
Yeah.
haven't got an argument.
Hmm.
So I need to come up with something. And that's the number one. But as I say, if you just say, well, is that more friendly than not answering at all? Do
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah. And do you have churn?
Up until now, no, except for one restaurant that caught on fire,
Okay.
which you can't really do a great deal about.
Yeah.
But I don't, and I do try and be. I think one of the other key things with it is when you're trying to sell it, um, go in not trying to sell it, but to see if you can help someone. First,
Mm.
you've got to find out, do they need your help? If they don't need your help, don't stop trying to sell them anything.
Yeah.
And then if they do, and even because once it's up and running, it doesn't cost you anything really. Um, so if there was one guy that had a bit of a bad time, he had some issues, and he phoned me up and said, "Listen, I'm going to have to cancel it just 'cause I can't afford it." I said, "Well, have it for a month for free.
Mm.
Just keep people happy, and the goodwill that you generate from that far outweighs anything else. And if you can
Yeah.
get into one business in your town, say if it's the first vet, the
Yeah.
other vets are going to know very quickly that
Mm.
that place down the road has got this new fancy answering system and they're not missing any calls.
Yeah.
And they're going to find out where they got it from.
Yeah. So cool. So you mentioned the vet called you back. Do you leave a card with them or something, or how did they know they had your info in their system?
I just told her the name of the business
Oh, okay, nice.
and she Googled it.
Okay, nice.
And what I do with that is my this isn't trying to get people to my website or anything. It's that there's nothing on my website that you'd want to watch unless you're a restaurant owner
Yeah.
um, at the moment. But they say to you, what's the name of the company? And I say Catem's. It's
Hmm.
my two children's names, Katie and Thomas.
Nice.
And so it sticks in people's heads the name of the business.
Nice.
You know? And if you can find a domain that is, I don't know, AI agents that answer the phone.com or something like, I don't know what, it'd be probably slightly shorter than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything like, and funny enough, one of the best ones I had when I had a marketing agency, I had a client who had an amazing treatment for people that suffer from hemorrhoids.
Mm.
Not a subject we want to go deep into or anything.
Yeah.
But the hemorrhoid business was kind of sat in the back of my head. And I went into a bathroom at a service station on a motorway or a freeway at some point. And in the gents' bathroom, all across was some posters, and the website was I've got an itchybum.com. Now, and then it said something
You're not
about
gonna forget that
hemorrhoids.
one.
And I was like, and this was, I honestly, this was, I think this was 2011. And I've probably told that story once a month since when I'm talking to people about marketing. And I don't
Yeah.
know how many people might have visited that website as a result of me giving it a bit of, free SEO or
Yeah,
whatever you want.
you should get some affiliate commissions on that hemorrhoid cream.
Exactly, exactly. I need to put my little link on the end of that somehow, and
That's
I'm not
hilarious.
quite sure how you do that without ruining the domain. But
Yeah.
if you can, phone calls for vets.com or you
Yeah.
know whatever it happens to be, and even if that then redirects to your main site or something like that,
Hmm.
then you're gold if you do it that way. But just
Yeah.
make it
Very
something
cool.
fairly easy, or give them a way to remember it.
Yeah.
And that woman, I was going to actually go back in and see her a week later, just let her fester a little bit,
Yeah.
and just pop back in and say something about my dog. Yeah, you're taking
Yeah.
dogs on at the moment. Yeah, well, yeah, 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 okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay. Last question for you. Have you found any limitations on the bot? Like, has somebody asked you to do something that you aren't able to do?
um, I don't think so because the thing is, because of the nature of the people that I'm working with, and I didn't realize this until you've just said it, they are so blown away by what it does.
Mm.
They're not saying, "Oh, I'd like it to do this as well," because
Yeah.
like I say, you've just invented the wheel or something in front of their very eyes,
Yeah.
and they're not going to say, "Oh, can you put a car on top of that wheel?" Well, they're like, "Oh my God, it's a
Yeah.
wheel," And
Yeah.
one of the lines I always use with people, which is I kind of started by accident, but it worked unbelievably well. At the end of the pitch, when you're going to say, do you like it? And they say, yeah, yeah, great. And you say, okay, well, here's the thing. This is the worst it's ever going to be.
Yeah. That's
It's
great.
only ever going to get better. And people love that line. They're like, oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
So, and and it is even behind the scenes. I think if I'm might be right, I'm not sure, but I'm fairly sure the high level AI agents are powered by ChatGPT,
Hmm.
and ChatGPT is improving, virtually by the minute.
Yeah.
If you could see in the background, I wouldn't
Hmm.
understand it, but if somebody who understands that stuff, if you were watching I mean, my ChatGPT, I have to press an update button on it multiple times a day. So multiple times a day, there's something being updated behind the scenes that you and I wouldn't realize on face value, but it's making a little bit faster, a little quicker, a little more intelligent, a little more, you know, precise in its responses or whatever it happens to be, and it just goes nuts.
Yeah. So cool.
And
So
that way,
cool.
people look at it and go, "Oh my God, imagine what it's going to be like in 2 years' time." So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
imagine.
Yep.
But the one thing I will say, and this is something that I think in my head, I I'm 54, which is
Hmm.
very old to be in this game. And when in 6 years' time, I'll be 60. That's when I'm stopping. And I have a 6 year plan to exit this business for a big pile of money
Yeah.
because I'm not sure if you're interested in this, if you're watching this and you're thinking about getting involved in anything AI, anything high level, anything like this, you need to start moving now
Mm.
because it's not going to be long where what I'm talking about now, you kind of can do yourself.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
average
even like
business owner can log in
Mark
and
Zuckerberg's talking about fairly soon you'll go to Facebook and say, here's my product, this is how much I'm willing to pay for a customer.
yeah.
And that's all you'll do on a Facebook ad.
Yeah.
And that's Zuckerberg. So if he's thinking that, he's seen something that looks like that, however
Yeah.
that stuff works. So I think there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe years of this to really ride the wave.
Yeah.
Um, so if you want to get involved as quick as you possibly can.
So cool. I'm getting ready to do some prospecting locally. I've been doing it just sort of. I used to do door-to-door sales, and I'm getting back into it. I'm very rusty. And I
Okay.
looked up yesterday. The government website for my city, which is, I don't know, maybe 5 square miles. There are 5,200 registered businesses in 2025 within a 5 mile radius of me.
There you go.
You could capture 1% of that, would be 50 businesses paying you a few $100s a month. You could live a very nice life on that. You
Yeah,
capture 5% of that, you could sell that and not have to work again, depending on how much money you need. So
yeah.
there's so much opportunity out there, and it's so cool to see how easy it is to get this up and running.
And one of the things, if you want a real fast start on it and you want to get involved in ads, but you haven't got any money,
Hmm.
the easiest thing to do is I sell my agents at £400 each. That's 4,800 a year.
Hmm.
If you pay me the year in advance, you can have it for 2.5 grand.
Oh,
But
beautiful.
I only do that for 10 people.
Mm,
That gives me 25 grand to spend on ads.
nice.
And those 10 people are just parked.
Yeah.
That money isn't even mine, that's just ad fund. And I do teach some people how to sort of start themselves in digital marketing and so on. And that's the easiest way. Just get people to give you a load of money up front.
Yeah.
Don't spend any of the money that's coming in
Hmm.
until you've got a bit. Don't sell
Yeah.
something for £400 and spend 398 of it down the pub.
Yeah.
Um, and then you'll just build this backlist of money. And with that first 25 grand, they'll snap your arm off because it's half price
Yeah.
virtually. And you throw in the setup for free, and you throw in a second agent that will do something else for them for just get the 2.5 grand.
Yeah.
Because all it takes you, I think I would set up a very complicated agent. Once I've done the first one, it's not an hour.
Yeah.
It doesn't take me an hour. And I
Wow.
charge £450 for that.
Yeah. How many clients are you getting a week from ads right now?
It costs me about £75 to get a client. Um, and I'm getting, oh, sorry, to get a client on board, and I get about 100 a month.
Wow.
And the ones that I get outside of that, I try and one of the things I do at the moment, and I have a weird thing that I don't know if it's just me. I kind of can't stop selling stuff. It's if I'm when I'm running ads and everything's great, but if I still walk past the shop, let me just pop in here and just let me just go and speak to this guy. And they're like, no, we're going out for dinner. No, but look, it's going to be. And
Yeah.
so I kind of I still go, but one of the things I also do is that I kind of leverage my network in the hospitality industry.
Mm.
And I've got contacts who are globally high up in a lot of globally famous restaurant brands. Um, so it's easy to get to those. And if you get to those guys, you could take on 100 outlets in one hit.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
how bad's that?
Yeah. So those 100 customers are all from ads, or are
Yeah.
they from some, wow. And that's not calls, that's not
No,
like
no, no. That's
shows.
paid clients.
And are you designing all the agents, or you just take your template and duplicate it yourself? Or do
Take
you
the
have,
template, duplicate it myself. What I'm actually working on at the moment is I want to set it up in such a way that they can set up their own agent.
mm,
Because say with a restaurant, it's very, very easy. You just say, um, we would send you a snapshot and we do some videos of this is how you set up your account, this is how you do whatever it happens to be. These things are called custom values. You need to go in, and this one is restaurant name. This one is
yeah,
phone number. This one, whatever it happens to
yeah.
be.
They could
And
just fill
that
out a
way,
form. Yeah.
yeah. But I'm not genuinely I'm not that techie.
Yeah.
So I've got people trying to work that stuff out for me. But if we can get them to fill out a form and
Hmm.
that form turns into custom values, which would be my ideal thing,
Yeah.
um, then all I say to someone is, right, you are Bob's Pizza Shop, fill in your information,
Hmm.
bang, you're off. Because at the minute I've got some people doing the setup and albeit just from templates, so it's
Sure. Yeah.
fairly basic VA
Yeah.
work, um, and you're done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really is. It sometimes I do think like, I have discovered fire or something. And a large part of me it's like, why is nobody else doing this?
Yeah.
But even weirdly in the high level group, and I answered a comment, somebody wrote in there something today, only about an hour before we started this call. He said something like, I want to work as a VA for someone for free just to learn some skills and so on, which is great. And if someone writes stuff like that, I always try and kind of help because,
Yeah.
however that happens to me. So I just said to him, look, don't set yourself up as a VA. Just spend this weekend watching YouTube videos about how to set up AI agents and you're gold.
Mm.
And literally, all you have to then do is be able to walk into somewhere and say, do you miss phone calls? Yes. How many phone calls? How much is that worth? Do you want to swap that for £400?
Yeah.
Or you could start for £100 or £50. I people say you start low when you're a beginner. It doesn't matter whether you're a beginner or an expert. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So is your like, are you just taking sales calls all day from your ads? Like just a packed calendar there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Wow.
that's I'm much better at sales than anything else.
Hmm.
But the sales calls last about 15 minutes
Wow.
because I get them to watch a VSL,
Hmm.
so they know what it is already. I've got a demo based off of their website,
Hmm.
and then we're done.
Wow. And the ads are just coming from your like agency business page on Facebook.
Yeah, although I think at the moment we've turned it off because he's trying to. We've got a few things that we're trying to do, and one of them is we're trying to get this template done. And we had a couple of issues in the last week or so, so we fell a little bit behind. So I'd rather just wait and catch them up again.
Sure.
But yeah, it's we've got I think we've got one campaign with three ad sets and one ad per ad set,
Okay.
and that's it.
There you go.
And we've tried a million different options, and it just isn't needed.
Hmm.
If you once you've got the one that works, and they a lot of people will tell you this at the moment, and to my mind, it's true. If your ad says something like "Restaurant owners, are you missing phone calls?" Because there's no need for targeting in ads anymore. It's all off the
Yeah.
copy.
Hmm.
Um, and our images are basically a guy who looks like he's a restaurant manager, kind of pulling his hair out because the phone's ringing and he's got 50 plates, and images are made with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So you go to ChatGPT and say, "This is what I'm selling. How do I write a Facebook ad that will highly convert? Think like somebody like Dan Kennedy, Frank Kern, Alex Hormozy, whoever you want to say. What would they do?"
Yeah.
Oh, there's another great. I don't know. Do you know a guy called John Loomer?
Rings a bell, but I don't know
Yeah, he's an
exactly.
American guy. He's a Facebook ads guy. He's great to watch. So I often say to ChatGPT, pretend you're John Loomer, write me an ad campaign, and ping, there we go. So, but
Yeah.
I think there's a an Australian entrepreneur, a guy called Daniel Priestley, and
Oh yeah.
he says at the moment, and this makes a lot of sense to me. Years ago, people would say, "I haven't got any money and I can't make any money because I didn't have the background or the upbringing or the money to do it, or someone giving me some help or whatever it is, or the knowledge." Now you've got literally no excuse because
Yeah.
if you and I now said we want to take on Elon on flying rockets to Mars, we go to ChatGPT, it will tell you how to do it. It would also tell you, but we haven't got any money to build a
Yeah.
£1 billion rocket. Well,
Yeah.
how do we raise finance? Go to ChatGPT. Say, how do you raise finance for £1 billion to
Yeah.
fly a rocket? So there is no excuse for anybody not to be earning whatever sum of money they want, other than they couldn't be bothered to do it.
Yeah.
And I say to people sometimes, if you, especially if they've got kids, what would you like to be doing with your kids this time next year? Oh, we'll take them on a first class trip to Disney and whatever else. But I haven't got any money. Okay, so if that doesn't happen next year, you have literally chosen not to take your kids on the holiday of a lifetime.
Mm.
And I say that to a lot of young mums and young couples and so on. And all of a sudden they're like, I am taking my kids to Disney next year. Right, get me ChatGPT quick. And they almost certainly, and one of the things I say to them to do is book yourself the holiday. You have to pay like $100 as a deposit, or no real money as a deposit, and tell the children they're going to Disney next year. And you are not going to let them down.
Nice.
You would have to be a pretty terrible mother or
Yeah.
father to just go, yeah, I can't be bothered to do any work today.
Whatever your goal is,
Yeah,
just get some accountability there. That's
yeah.
great. So cool.
But that's the one. It's I Daniel Priestley thing of it's up to you what happens now.
Yeah.
So whereas before there were limitations on people, you've got
Yeah.
the most intelligent advisor on the planet sitting on your phone.
Mm. That's a great point to end on, Danny. Thanks so much for coming on. If people want to find you, where should they go?
I think probably best you'll find me on Facebook.
Okay.
Like my personal Facebook. If you're in high level group, if you just Google Danny Harris, you'll find or search in the group Danny Harris. Um, I won't send you to the website because it's all restaurant stuff at the moment, so there's nothing really, and it's only really a landing page that we use. We don't get vastly complex, and that's another thing to learn is don't overcomplicate it. You don't need
Yeah.
million. We've got a one-page landing page that
Yeah.
says here's a demo.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about it, there's a calendar. Then you talk to us on a call. That's it.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, if you find me in a high level group or on Facebook generally, or
I'll
on
leave that link below.
Instagram, we've got Kaytoms low dash AI, which is
Okay.
Kaytoms.
That's on Instagram.
Yes.
Great.
And send me a DM if you've got any questions.
All
I'm quite
right.
happy to answer people's DMs and yeah, point them in the
This
right
guy's
direction.
a legend for answering all the questions and keeping it real. Thanks so much, Danny.
No worries, absolute pleasure.